I guess everybody's been trying to reach me about the allegations of drug abuse in city government. I'd like to say that this is something that I've been aware of for some time. It's something that we've had an ongoing investigation in. Only a month or so ago, well, several months ago, just after Christmas, I personally went to the police department with specific information that I had received from citizens in regard to drug activities involved in city government. And I tried to reassure them that I didn't want anybody or any area of our city government protected or exempt from their investigations, that we intend to have a drug-free workplace and that nobody should use the city time or city facilities as any defense or any protection in the trafficking or use of drugs. That investigation was in process, is continuing in process. It's difficult for us to discuss the specifics of an investigation. In fact, the more that comes to the press about the investigation, the less likely it is to be successful. And so what we've tried to do is to continue an investigation, to collect evidence. I would like to thank those city employees that are cooperating with the investigation. I'd like to encourage them to share their information with the police, with the GBI, with any federal investigation that's ever attempted in regard to our city. If they don't want to bring information to law enforcement officers, I encourage them to bring any specific information to me personally. And I would assure them that they would be protected and that that information would be dealt with in a correct manner that produces convictions and indictments or firings from city government. But we're not going to tolerate continued use of drugs or the city government facilities being any hiding place or safe refuge for people who are trafficking in drugs. But in a free society such as ours, with a combination of both the rules of the workplace that are our civil service laws, with the rules of due process that require specific information for search and seizure warrants and the like, it's very difficult to get information that you can move forward on and receive a conviction. But that is our intention, and that is what we're going to be doing. And frankly, the less written about it or said about it, the better the police are likely to be able to proceed in the investigation.
Mayor, where did you get the information that you took to the police department?
In fact, I was out in the neighborhood, and I was talking with a lady who said, just matter-of-factly, that in complaining about drugs, there are drug dealings in city government. And I said, where, specifically? And she told me some departments that she had heard rumors that they were dealing in drugs. I went directly to the police and reported that and asked that they expand their investigation to include that department if they were not already involved in that.
Can you tell us how many departments are getting a look as far as...
Now, as far as I'm concerned, all of city government is being looked at. And I assured the chief and Major Derrico in intelligence that we did not want anybody exempt, any department or any personnel protected from investigation. That really I wanted to be sure that there were no drugs being trafficked in City Hall or by city workers in workstations all over the city. And I asked them to move ahead with that investigation, but not to come back to report to me directly. That the proper channel of reporting was to go directly to the district attorney and to bring indictments against people whom they found to be guilty. That there was no such thing as political protection for anybody in city government, and I wanted them to be sure that They knew that that was my position.
So which department did the allegations that you heard from this woman in the neighborhood?
Well, that's the point. Allegations ought to go to the police and not to the press. If they're going to be effective, that's the only place that you can do anything with them.
Well, let us give you some allegations then. The allegations are that city workers are dealing drugs out of those city trucks, that it doesn't stop there, that the reason we aren't seeing disciplinary actions is that the people responsible for discipline are involved in this. Is that the allegation you've heard?
No, that's not the allegation I've heard. That's the allegation I read. But in talking with the police about this, I have insisted that they move wherever they want to move in city government, and that nobody should be exempt or protected, and that they should bring charges as quickly as possible. They assure me that there is an ongoing investigation, but that it's very difficult to get the kind of evidence that's necessary to substantiate those charges either in court or in a civil service review.
Are you willing to say whether or not the investigation is centering mostly on the Public Works Department?
Well, it shouldn't settle just on the Public Works Department. See, the investigation should include the mayor's office, the police department, Public Works. I think we're making a scapegoat of Public Works.
Does it include the mayor's office?
I don't know, but it should. There should not be any part of city government that should be exempt from investigation by the law enforcement community in regard to drug trafficking.
If there was a drug problem in the mayor's office, shouldn't you know about it?
I should know about it, and indictments should be brought.
Shouldn't Chester Funyuns know about it if there's a drug problem?
Yes, he should. And if he does, an indictment should be brought in cases where he knows about it, but he should not be the one to determine whether indictments are brought. See, the indictments, and generally in city government, if there is a problem, whether personnel or legal, the law department is the one that makes the determination about how those charges are dealt with, and that is the proper course for action, legal or civil action, in regard to city employees.
You said the investigation's been going on for about 3 months now. Where's it centered?
It's centered wherever the police want to center it.
So far, have we centered it on Public Works? Have they
No, I wouldn't know about that, and I wouldn't ask about that. What I've tried to get them to do is to let them know that we intend to have a drug-free workplace, and that of the 7,000 city employees, all of them should be subject to scrutiny and investigation, and nobody should be protected for any political reason whatsoever.
Would supervisors be held culpable for things that their workers might be doing as well? Would you see that?
I think that supervisors are held responsible for things that their workers are doing. And yet, if you've had any experience with drug abuse, unlike alcohol abuse, it's not easy to determine people who are directly involved in drug abuse. Denial is the first thing you get. And apart from hard proof and action, and catching somebody in the act, it's very difficult. Now, drug tests might be an answer. And I have no problem with drug tests by city workers. I think that drugs have become such a problem in our society, such a threat to our society, that random drug tests might be necessary for bringing about a resolution to this problem.
Have you set a time limit or something for some report on how the investigation is going?
You can't set a time limit in a police investigation. As soon as they get anything to move on, they will do it. But when you advertise to criminals all over that there is a thoroughgoing investigation, what you do is chill that investigation and send people underground. You make them change patterns of operation, and you're not dealing with dumb people. You're dealing with people who make a career of skirting the law.
How long has it been going on, do you think?
Well, I have asked for investigations of a variety of types as far back as my appointing Rob Rivers as Bureau Director in the Water Department. One of the things that we wanted Rob to do was to begin to deal with those kinds of problems. He'd worked in Parks and Recreation. There was a time years ago when there was a similar problem in Parks and Recreation, and we felt like with great difficulty we had cleaned that up. And one of the reasons for transferring Rob Rivers from Parks and Recreation over to the Water Department was that he had had some experience with this kind of situation.
One of your councilmen is calling for wholesale changes in leadership in the public works.
He's running for office, and that's an easy, cheap shot. And I have looked at public officials, I have looked at public administrators around this country. And anytime I visit a city, anytime I meet with forums of public administrators, I'm always looking for people more talented and more committed than the people I've got. Because I've had a chance to reappoint people 2 or 3 times in the course of these 8 years. Whenever I have found better people than the people we have in the city of Atlanta, I have not hesitated to try to bring them to the city of Atlanta. I have yet to find a better public administrator and a better public works man than Chester Fournier. And maybe the next mayor might be able to find somebody better. But Chester was a person that people complained to me about when I was elected. He didn't get along with labor. They wanted him fired. He didn't get along with the business community. They wanted him fired. The press didn't like him. And when I looked into it, I found out that one of the reasons why is that Chester Fournier is not a public relations man. He just happens to be a guy that is dedicated to paving streets, to seeing to it that the sewage system works, and that the garbage is picked up on time. And I will suffer with his administrative and personality shortcomings because I think he does an excellent job for the city.
You say that Public Works is a scapegoat. Do you mean that the problem of drug abuse is not severe there, or that it's just as severe in other departments?
No, I think it's just as severe in other areas of America's life. In fact, I would challenge you to do the same kind of scrutiny in your own news bureaus and with your own employees. Drugs are a problem.
Mayor, we're talking about drug trafficking here.
Yeah?
And I think that we're getting the sense from the public that they're tired of excuses. They want you to say, I'm going to stop this. In the 9 months that I'm going to be mayor, I'm going to stop this. And how are you going to do it?
Well, we're going to do it through the police actions that are appropriate, which is the only way we can stop drug trafficking. And working closely with the police and holding their feet to the fire is the only alternative we've got. But show me somebody that has wiped out drug trafficking. The military has been struggling with this since the early days of Vietnam, and they're making progress. But they haven't solved the problem. We've been struggling with this ever since I've been mayor. And we are making progress, but we haven't solved the problem. We will continue working on the problem, and anything that I can do to put an end to drug trafficking or drug abuse in city government, the police, the community, city workers who are willing to give evidence, all should know that they have my full support in bringing an end to this problem.
Have you started any active methods, random drug testing, having the law department look into whether you can do it or not?
We had a resolution that the law department looked into and determined that there was some serious civil liberties questions. We do drug testing for police, and it's one of the reasons why we haven't been able to fill up our quota of police. We've got probably 100 police vacancies.
Well, you don't want drug dealers doing things.
No, you don't. But what you're talking about is a society in which there has been such widespread drug abuse that it's very difficult to find people willing and able to be law enforcement officers. Now, law enforcement officers are paid considerably better than public works workers. And it's difficult to find people in a variety of areas where there is a freedom of, there is a history of no drug abuse or no drug use.
Speaking of the police department, is this investigation run into the police department?
It should. And there's a constant ongoing scrutiny of the police department by the Office of Professional Standards. And any allegations or any rumors of any sort about police officers that are anyway involved in drugs are investigated by our Office of Professional Standards. When there are questions of the Office of Professional Standards, those questions are directed to a civilian review board, which I appointed, and that civilian review board looks into the allegations and to the charges of cover-up by the Office of Professional Standards.
U.S. Attorney Robert Barr gave a speech this morning talking about this new statute, the 88 Anti-Drug Abuse Act. Does that have some application here, particularly the drug-free provisions in the workplace for places that get more than $25,000 in federal funding?
Well, it does, and it does apply to the City of Atlanta, and it will apply to the City of Atlanta. We do have programs to prevent drug abuse, to correct drug abuse. We do have ongoing investigations related to drug sales and drug abuse in the workplace. We're doing just about everything the Act calls for, long before there was an Act. Anything that we're not doing that is suggested by the federal government or by the state government, we are willing to do.
I'm not getting a feeling from you. I mean, is there a serious drug problem?
There's a serious drug problem in America.
Among city workers
yes,
on public payroll in Atlanta?
Yes, there is a serious drug problem among city workers and on the public payroll in Atlanta. But it's about the same percentages as it is in the rest of the society, I contend.
Mayor, we talked to your workers yesterday.
News conference after this question so the mayor can get ready for those things.
Mayor, we talked to some workers yesterday who say the city drug rehabilitation program is a joke, that it needs to be examined itself. Have you thought about that yet?
I have not been involved with the city drug program. I have I have talked with some of the people there. I observed a group of about 100 persons who were involved in a late night class and that they're going to voluntarily. And from my casual observation, it seemed to be very similar to what I've read occurs in those programs that charge you $10,000 and still aren't able to guarantee complete freedom from drugs. You're dealing with... No, I'm saying that you compare our program to any treatment program in the country, however cost, and we're probably getting about the same results. Well, we don't know what to do about drugs. Not the City of Atlanta. The United States government doesn't yet know what to do about drugs. And the world is having difficulty dealing with the drug problem. But that doesn't mean that we're tolerant of it or that we're accepting it. It means that we will continue to struggle. The drugs are a serious problem for the entire society, a serious problem for the entire world. But you've got to reverse almost 20 years of acceptability. Drugs are no longer socially acceptable in America, certainly not in city government in the City of Atlanta. And we are in process of rooting out that unacceptable behavior in our employees and amongst our elected officials.
Thank you.
Would you say Public Works was unfairly